guys, welcome back to the weekly home run. We are in Southlake, Texas, which is my hometown, and it is currently 115 degrees around there. Very hot, melting, gross. Have a little bit of special treat for you today. This is my little sister, Kayla Miles.
Hey guys.
And we're going to talk to you today a little bit of what is kind of a high school athlete's perspective going into college. I mean, I've shared with you a lot of my college athlete experiences and hoping to get maybe a little bit of a high school / freshman in college perspective with what maybe some of the things she has to say. So today we're going to talk about audience and maybe how we express our excitement for playing for certain people, or how we express our glory for God and how we deal with that both in our softball life and our Christian walk. So I want to start off with the verse real quick. It's Galatians 1:10, and it says, "Am I now trying to win the approval of men or of God? Or am I trying to please men? If I were still trying to please men, I would not be a servant of Christ." And that's kind of it's not sugarcoated at all. It's saying that when we try to please men rather than God, we're kind of taking away from serving Christ. We're not serving Christ, rather we're serving others instead of giving God the glory that He obviously deserves. So, Kayla, in your Christian walk and in softball, is it hard to give glory to God rather than to people, or is it easier to kind of look in the stands and find people that you're excited to play for?
It is. It's hard. It's hard to take your concentration away from the game and winning and playing for the right coach and focusing it on God, because you're just so focused in the game and thinking about what you need to do next. Where's the next play? Where's this ball going? Like, what's my coach going to think? You think about all that, and the people in the stands, college coaches watching you, recruits out there, and you just get so caught up that you forget the reason why we're alive and the reason why we play is God. And you just need to be able to switch your focus by picking something out on the field that reminds you of God, maybe writing a note on your glove, looking at the foul pole and imagining a cross. Little things like that will just help remind you that you're playing the game for God and not for yourself.
And I know for us, our dad, he was the ultimate cheerleader, so we'd look in the stands and he'd be like, "That's my baby," and we'd be like, pretend to be embarrassed, but we were like, "Yeah, that's my dad, he's yelling at us." But I mean, sometimes like during high school, I found myself looking to the stands or looking to be like, "Oh, this person's coming to watch me play today, this person's coming," and I'd get more excited for those people to come watch me play than I would on a normal game when I knew no one was coming. And I kind of got to the point where I had to step back and be like, okay, am I playing for God, or am I playing for myself, or am I playing for other people? And I kind of lost track of where I was with that.
I used to get so caught up in my motivation to play. Like, I'd play for specific coaches. Like, I had a favorite coach, Kyle Strickland, was just my favorite coach ever, and I would lay out, get all scratched up, and do whatever he needed me to do. But I would switch teams and I wouldn't be able to perform at that level for other coaches because I had gotten this mindset that I would play for my coach, but really I should be thinking I'll play for my God, and I should play at the same level as every single team.
And even like we can relate this to our Christian walk. Like sometimes, I'll be so nervous about praying in front of people or praying in front of a group that I'll be like, "Man, that was a really good prayer." And I'm like, God says, "Okay, whoa, who are you praying for? Are you praying for yourself? Are you praying for people? Are you praying so people can hear your voice?" Ouch. So it kind of takes us back to this humility where we have to be like, okay, this is solely for God and for no one else. And it's definitely something that's hard. I mean, in John 3:30, it simply says, "He must become greater and I must become less." Simply saying, God's got to become more and I have to become less so that He can shine through my life rather than me shining through and people seeing, who I am and being like, "Oh, well, she's such a great Christian girl," or "She does this well," or rather than people seeing me, I want them to be able to see Christ and see what He's done in my life and how it's changed me in that way. Is that something that you can relate to, or is it hard as a high school athlete to be able to stand up for those things on the field?
I think it's a little more difficult in the high school just because everything is centered around to who you are in the school and how, like, your reputation, your friends, everything is so important at that age. And it's like once you get out of it, you look back and you're like, why did I waste all my time thinking about that? Because I could have saved so many lives by standing up for God instead of trying to fit in. And it's frustrating to think that I could have done so much more and for you high schoolers out there, like now is such a good time for you to like look at yourself and just look at who you really are and who you're really playing for. And if you can switch that over from whatever you're focused on to God, it's going to be amazing and your life is just going to blossom.
And we don't want to say, well, don't focus on all this, I wasted so much time, I did this, I should have done that, but just kind of step back and be like, okay, I could have done more here, but I'm going to step up and change that now, and I'm going to make a change in a positive direction to give God more glory in my game and also in my walk. So I just like in 1 Corinthians 10:31, it says, whatever you do, do it all for the glory of God. I mean, whatever you eat, whatever you drink, whatever you do it all for God's glory. And it's kind of something, people will say, go on the field and glorify God. Okay, well, what about off the field? When we step off the field, who are we glorifying? Who are we standing up to? And who do people see in us? Rather than, what we're doing or whatever else that we think we're doing to glorify ourselves.
I got to be an FCA counselor at the FCA camp over this past summer. It was really, really fun. And one of the little girls in my huddle, she asked me, why do we play sports? Why do we do things that we do in life if really it's all about saving people? And I told her that the reason we do those things is to have a platform to be able to reach those people. So for college athletes, it might seem silly in that it is a game and that we focus so much on this game, but through that game you can touch so many people's lives. And God, I think He gives us special talents and special abilities to be able to reach other people and to be an example.
And it's something that we can step back and say, okay, kind of test yourself, am I doing this for my glory? Am I doing this for God's glory? Is this something that would glorify God in my actions? And it's definitely a point where you can check yourself and be like, okay, where do I stand with this? How would God view this? And what is it that I can do to improve the way that I'm giving God glory, both in my game and in everyday life? So those are our thoughts on audience and having an audience of one, being able to play for God and God alone. And I hope you enjoyed our little blurb, and we will see you next time.